I don't know what he did to take care of it, but it healed fine, unless he had it fused back when he broke it. I don't know what it doesn't go any history on what happened with his back after he supposedly broke it. While he's going through all of his memories of that, basically his trauma events, and he said, he made some bad money-making decisions by investing in a restaurant that ended up getting closed down. And he says, never do any of this stuff. He says, it didn't work out for me. And he's like, and you see for all these monitors after he went through this divorce with MJ, he's basically wearing nothing but Spider-Man. His Spider-Man costume since the divorce that basically said it happened 12 years ago. So he's been wearing and sleeping and working out in his Spider-Man clothes. And it's been Spider-Man 24/7 since the divorce, because it doesn't say he's done anything as Peter Parker since the divorce, so it's been an active Spider-Man, so it's like you feel bad for Peter Parker. You just kind of feel bad for him, because even though all the stuff that happened to him is kind of funny, it's also funny as it is depressing, but you feel actually bad laughing for his past traumas because you like him so much still. In this, even though he's in this mental state and going through a midlife crisis also, because he still be Spider-Man, but even though he's getting sense that he's getting kind of sick of it. So I guess he's going through a midlife crisis also, since he got divorced for the past 12 years, and then he one day while was trying to lose weight and doing the crunches, he decided to snack on a pizza, a pepperoni pizza. He said how he was getting strong while doing some few crunches, so he decided he had a pizza after doing the crunches. A pepperoni pizza that was takeout, obviously, from, I don't know when it was. You know, I mean, you see this this really sad thing that you see him actually doing after when he goes through the divorce, decides all the divorce people. He's basically, you see him in his Spider-Man costume with his mask on, crying in the shower while the hot shower is running on him. And he says how he handled it, and he's narrating how he handled it like a champ while you're watching the scene play out, when he's narrating over it, his moments in life as Spider-Man. So, it's just so, and he says how he not only hands over the champ, because it says he always gets back up, no matter how down things may look for him. Because he says he always gets back up. And he handled the divorce like a champ. No, he didn't handle it well. He didn't handle it like a champ. He basically, he cried in the shower, hot showers running, while wearing this whole Spider-Man costume with the masks and boots and gloves and everything. Although, if his version of champ, it could have been a lot worse than he could have handled as knowing this version of Peter Parker. If this is him handling it like a champ, then was it handling it like a loser at a time, I wonder. Must be worse, I mean. So, yeah. So, Miles kidnapped this version of Peter Parker from the multiverse and interrogates him. Peter Parker breaks free, steals the flash drive, brings to a dish Miles. Miles makes Peter feel guilty and teaches him how to be Spider-Man. Peter does from the multiverse, the Spider-Verse. So they have lunch. Miles has to pay for it because Peter's low on catch, so basically he's broke. He went broke. He went like on cash during the years. It was basically saying he went basically practically broke. So yeah. So Peter decides to say the bus was Miles instead of swinging for the air like Spider-Man, because he just ate a belly burger, he calls it, and so he doesn't want to swing for the air, because I guess he doesn't want to get sick. So after eating, yeah. He comes up with a plan to make a new flash drive while Kingpin's out of his office, and sneak into his office and make a new flash drive and get a big on the way out. And leave Miles behind to supervise. Miles disobeys of Peter and doesn't stay behind because he sees Kingpin coming Peter's way, and can't let Spider from the multiverse, from a separate Earth, die again. So he can't let Spider-Man die again. Peter Parker die again because he feels guilty enough from when the last one died, I guess. So he breaks the whole scene down to Peter when he's in the air vent with him, calling for the air vent. And Peter makes a quip of how peachy this whole problem is. That Kingpin has killed me from another Earth, and he would want to kill me because I'm from another Earth in the multiverse. This just sounds peachy. In fact, he got too closer. He got close. He actually got close enough, and to see it killing a younger, more active version of himself. Much younger, in his early 20s younger. This Peter Parker from the multiverse is in his late 30s. Big difference, age difference, and probably chance that Jack Johnson's one that from the multiverse isn't going to be as active or as agile or fast as the one from Miles' Earth. If they running into each other, Kingpin and Spider-Man again. Luckily, Dr. Octopus runs into him. And it's not revealed that she's Dr. Octopus, as we're assuming some sort of Spider-Man fan geek that happens to work for Kingpin. That's a girl, and the Spider-Man fangirl. Only later to be revealed Dr. Octavius from that Earth. So, Peter knows that he's screwed. Jack Johnson's Peter Parker says, like, look, oh shit, I'm screwed. And Miles saves the day by turning invisible and attacking her and getting the drop on her. And Peter and Miles break for it and run into Spider-Gwen, that's Gwen Stacy from earlier in the film. But she's not from this Earth, Miles' Earth either. She's from the multiverse, a different Earth. But Peter died, her best friend, on that Earth. As in, yeah, so, that's her tragedy, but, I guess she's in a rock band, so yeah, and, this is after Miles ripped half her hair off, and she comments on the new hairdo, and she says, you don't get to like my hair. And I guess this is supposed, and then, this is, setting up their whole love, relationship in the film, I guess, and they don't really, show really excites me about, being future boyfriend and girlfriend as much as, brother and sisters, from other mothers, basically. And, they show more signs of becoming brothers and sisters than actual couple, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And, it's weird, but also charming at the same time when you find that's what they're separating up, and when it pays off in the third act of the last scene of the film in the third act. So, then they go to Aunt May's place. Peter makes peace with his Aunt May by visiting, by I guess it helps us help him because he held mental state by saying hi to his Aunt May that he had a bear on his horse. And so they run into the other spy people, and they all points out how Miles is completely useless, and Peter tries to defend him, but he can't because Miles convinces he can't use any of his powers on an intentionally basis. So they ditch him in his room and his bedroom and his school. That's when Miles is inspired by his dad by his dad realizing that by his dad seeing that his uncle died. Miles' uncle died in Miles' hand when he was dressed in the costume as Spider-Man. But he wasn't killed by Miles, he was killed by Kingpin. Well, one of Kingpin's assassins. His henchmen. One of his henchmen. The Miles' uncle ends up being one of Kingpin's henchmen as this supervillain name was cool costume and stuff. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things that Miles gets framed by his dad seeing him in the costume, and without knowing that that's his son, so he assumes that that's Spider-Man. Miles Spider-Man killed Miles' uncle, so it's one of those things awkward things. So he breaks the news to Miles on what he saw of Spider-Man killed uncle, and then he feels really bad that he didn't spend more time with his brother. That's Miles' uncle, so he's grieving. And this is when he says that he sees something special in Miles, and that's why he's so high on him. And this is after Peter's giving this pep talk to Miles about being Spider-Man. That's the leap of faith, and you won't know when you're Spider-Man. It's a leap of faith. That's all it is. So Miles takes the leap of faith and makes his own Spider-Man costume out of Peter's old costume on his horse, from his lair, Spider Lair it's called, or Spider Cave, or one of those things where it's so yeah, and the whole badass montage things happening with this epic rap music playing, called the song's called "Not Scared of the Dark," and it's pretty epic. When you hear the song playing, because you know that it's on. Miles is now ready to take the leap of faith as being Spider-Man, and he can finally use his powers intentionally, all of his powers intentionally, to save the day, save the multiverse, and he does, and all the other Spider-Men go back to the multiverse. Peter was going to stay behind to help Miles, to help Miles fight Kingpin, because he didn't want Spider-Man to die. And Miles didn't want Spider-Man to die out because they both see each other as the Spider-Man. And Miles gets the drop on him by tricking Peter, and just trip him and say, "You gotta go home, dude." And Peter delivers his line. This really, Jack Johnson does a great performance in this scene. This is the best scene in the film to me. As he says, "But what if I mess up this? What if I mess up this? What if I don't? But what if I don't know if I'll mess it up this time? He says, how will I know that I won't mess up this time?" And he says to Peter, "You won't." That's when he gets that going home is just like being Spider-Man. It's a leap of faith. So he goes home, supposedly gets back with MJ, and the multiverse is saved. After the big climax, that's the end of Peter's story. And Peter, after he goes home, Miles faces up the Kingpin and wins after he sees his dad is cheering for him as Spider-Man. And he says, "Get up, Spider-Man." And he's the only one that's watching the epic battle while the multiverse collides. That's when he gets the feeling that Spider-Man is really not the one that killed his uncle, but he gets the feeling that someone else did it. Someone that was working for Kingpin or Kingpin himself. So, after and we have this basically this very heartwarming on scene between Miles and his dad when they're on a phone together, and he says that he's starting to think the Miles Spider-Man didn't really kill him, but someone else did. After seeing him in action and fighting the Kingpin to save the multiverse, basically. So basically, Miles goes to visit his dad in the Spider-Man costumes and says, I look forward to working with you, officer, and I love you. He says, because it's good seeing you saying, and then he actually runs away. Then he has his look on his face like something's up. Look, he kind of might know that that's his son as the new Spider-Man. It's kind of hinting at that's what yeah, that's the movie, and ends with Miles swinging through the city, and for some reason he thought it was necessary to narrate his backstory and how he came to be Spider-Man after we saw it all played out in this movie. And he says he's only been Spider-Man for the past 2 days. That he's been the one and only Spider-Man. So, I'm not going to give this a really good rating, but I'm not going to give it a really bad or a mediocre rating, okay, either? It, to me, is above average, but below awesome. As in really good. And, to me, that is an 8 out of 10. I mean, I'm sorry, I had to clean up my throat. To me, this movie is a 8 out of 10 movie. Only 1%, only slightly below 9 out of 10. Which are in the, really good ratings. 9 out of 10s or higher than that. So, and higher than that. It's meant to say and higher than that, or higher than that, and higher than that, okay? So, yeah, I give this movie a 8 out of 10 Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, I mentioned in previous video, how this has all the same problems that the first 2 Sam Raimi films and the, I mentioned how this has the same problem that all of the Spider-Man, except for Homecoming, for Spider-Man movies have been before, though maybe before released to the public domain before Spider-Verse, except for Homecoming, that was made before this film, and at least before this film. And how they all have the same, majority of them have the same problems, as in they feel convoluted and very rushed, pacing-wise. So, but I think the reason why this is not as good as Spider-Man 3 to me, at least, it has the trouble finding its rhythm. Because the rhythm's all over the place, because it wants to be a timeless, it wants to be an outright comedy film, it wants to be a parody, it wants to be this and that. It's trying to be all these different things, and it's having trouble juggling all of them at once. And basically, with the whole tone and stuff. So, but however, I think, those problems, now, it's not as good as Spider-Man 3, but it's better than Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Amazing Spider-Man 2, the Amazing Spider-Man movie with Andrew Garfield, where those to me were like most of them were, they were 5 and a 6 out of 10. One was 6, that would be Spider-Man 1, the Amazing Spider-Man 1, and Amazing Spider-Man 2, so these are 5 out of 10. Now, the reason why I think I'm giving this a much more higher rating than the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, as right now there's only 2 of them. So, here's going to be the third one. That Tom Holland's third Spider-Man going to set up somehow. And, so anyway, I think the reason why I think this is such a better movie than the first 2 Amazing Spider-Man films, because, and also the, piece of shit that are the, first 2 Spider-Man films was Maguire, Spider-Man 1 and 2, is because, unlike those ones, this feels like, there's something genuinely honest about the whole of what it's all trying to juggle. Like, it's coming from a place that it wants to do this, but you get the feeling it doesn't know exactly if it knows what it wants to do, whatever it's trying to do, which is several things at once. And it's like, I think in how it pulls it off and how it feels like such an honest Spider-Man movie that felt like it was basically inspired by Marvel Comics, not any past version of Spider-Man from film. And I think that's why that this has the 2 best Peter Parkers ever released into cinema, which is Chris Pine and Jack Johnson. Personally, Jack Johnson is a little more as Peter Parker and as Spider-Man half. But well, not a little more, a lot more, because he's just such because I think part of the reason why he's like, he feels more like the torture soul version of Peter Parker. He plays more of that part of the torture nice guy's soul at heart, but has lost his way and just depressed, basically. Well, Jack Johnson plays the more traditional, heroic version of Peter Parker that's quippy and lovable and fun, and all wants to do the right thing. He can't help not avoid responsibility of doing the right thing. Chris Pine's Peter Parker. But I think the reason why I Jack Johnson is he takes Spider-Man out of his comfort zone, somehow still makes him feel like the genuine article that I know and love from Marvel Comics, and also my second favorite comic book character of all time in comic books history, and also in Marvel Comics. So, in many ways, Peter Parker, Jack Johnson's Peter Parker, is in many ways the heart and soul of the film, to me, because like he started out as he comes across as a selfish jerk at first, only later to realize he's very broken down and beat up from the life of his life choices as continuing putting on the costume as Spider-Man, and the fact that he keeps on interfering with his life as Peter Parker in the worst ways possible. And you finally see that this Spider-Man's had almost about that this really, you see this it really is actually taking a toll on his mental and physical health. The toll's taken on, but you see that he still is at heart the Peter Parker we all know and love from the comics. That is quippy and funny and you know, is a hero. And so yeah, that's why I'm giving this all these reasons I had to say about this positive that I had to say is why the bad stuff, the good stuff, the strengths, the weakness for this film is the reason why I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Okay? Bye.